Joining us now with another view on the battering the president is taking in the press is Philippe Reines, former State Department official under Hillary Clinton. Now, it's one thing for you as a Democratic partisan to pummel President Trump. But when we hear mainstream media commentators saying he's unhinged, worst president of all time, he should be impeached tomorrow, he'll resign soon, can you understand why a chunk of the country feels like they're listening to the opposition party?
I can understand why, but I can also understand why the other half is thinking that when they listen to this half, that Trump can do no wrong. And to whatever extent both halves are wrong, it's somewhere in the middle.
Right.
So, you know, I think media's responsibility, first and foremost, is to tell us what's going on. I can't go to every baseball game, you're telling me the score. I can't be at every press conference, you're telling me.
Right.
That's what you're doing.
Then I have the pitcher, the relief pitcher blew it. I'm giving you my analysis, and
okay.
that is what fuels a lot of
But
internet
if
and
the relief pitcher blew it, I want you to tell me that.
Yeah.
If the relief pitcher threw, 2.5 innings of hitless ball, I don't want you to lie to me. So your second job is to tell me whether something is right or not. So I think you have a little bit of a situation where Donald Trump needs to take more responsibility for all of this than anyone is giving him on the right.
But if the media blame him for everything, we were just talking about, the shutdown, fine, that's fair game. Syrian pullout, Jim Mattis leaving, stock market going down 10%.
I mean, it's been a bad few weeks.
Oh, okay, but if the cumulative effect, if it's all his fault, and all the headlines are pinning on him, it sounds like the press is piling on 24/7 on everything. And if everything's an 11, then nothing's an 11.
I don't think that that's true. I mean, he passed criminal justice reform, and some of
and
his...
How much attention did that get? A bipartisan compromise.
It
got totally drowned out by the shutdown.
I spend all day watching CNN,
I'm not blaming,
and I spend my nights and weekends here with you guys.
When he signed that bill, it was on the verge of the shutdown.
But you know what? I'd make the argument that he didn't do enough for it. He spent that day tweeting about, I don't even remember what other thing. We talked about this when I was last on. Donald Trump should have had an event where he was surrounded by people, including Van Jones, who was one of the toughest people on him on CNN, who were absolutely fawning over what he got right. But that's not his nature. His nature is to just throw spaghetti on the wall, and then we're being asked, well, why are you talking about spaghetti?
All right. Now, as you know, certain Fox hosts, certain Fox commentators who usually support President Trump have been pretty critical of him on a couple of issues, Syrian pullout and the border wall funding that is tied to the shutdown. And you've noted that. Where is the comparable breaking from the party line, even temporarily, on the Democratic side, on the liberal media side? Where is the criticism of, oh, maybe Nancy Pelosi shouldn't have done this, maybe Chuck Schumer went too far, maybe Bernie Sanders is over the top in this rhetoric? It seems like there's a lot of lockstep saluting on the liberal side.
Well, but to answer that in the way you're asking, I have to buy into the notion that half of the media is, in fact, liberal and biased.
I'm talking about self-described liberal commentators.
Well, if it's a commentator, you can say whatever you want, as long as it's clearly defined.
But if you're 100% supporting the Democrats, and then other people say, well, the conservatives support Trump, well, they've really drunk the Kool-Aid. But the recent weeks show that that's not always the case. Where is the breaking from the ideological path on the other side? Is there any? But I
think you start from a point of, you have to believe that Donald Trump does so much good in life and in his job. Why isn't it being covered accurately? And I think a lot of people are starting from the place that he's doing a lot of not good in his job. Right. He can't run around and say...
But you're very cleverly ducking the question.
No, I don't think I am.
Where is the criticism of the Democrats, occasionally, on some issue?
I think when it comes, I think there's a lot of criticism of intramural politics in the Democratic Party about whether someone is too liberal, whether someone should be... Right. There was a tremendous amount of coverage of whether or not Nancy Pelosi should be Speaker again. I would call that totally contrived. I mean, no one even challenged her.
Right, exactly. All right, on Iraq. And this is where you sound like somebody who won't give the guy a break. You said on Twitter he deserves zero credit for going to Iraq.
Yeah. A
transparent stunt.
Yep.
But aren't all of these visits by various presidents, to some extent, photo ops designed to make the president look good?
They are, absolutely. But there's a couple of distinctions. Almost every president, while we've been at war, certainly going back to George Bush and 9/11, has gone very early in their administration, whether it's to war zones, whether it's
to... But you said zero credit, transparent.
I do, because I believe that he was shamed into it.
Shamed into it.
I think he's sick and tired of reading about why haven't you gone. By all reporting, by all accounts, he was very upset about the reporting he got and the decision that was made by John Kelly when he did not go to the funeral, to the cemetery in World War I. I think he's very curious. Now, second of all, when you go you're supposed to make it about thanking someone's service, to go and to use that
and
to criticize Nancy Pelosi.
He did some of that.
He should have done zero of that.
I get your point. Let's talk about the Democrats in our remaining moment.
Okay.
You caused a stir a few weeks ago by telling Politico that Hillary Clinton...
You got to be more specific.
Hillary Clinton...
Yep.
It was very unlikely that she'll run in 2020, but the chances were not zero.
Yeah.
Since you are close to her, and I'm sure you are not there freelancing, why did you crack open that door?
Because I was asked, and that's the honest answer. I mean, first of all, it's crazy that in the first time of her 25 years in public service, no one has just assumed that maybe she's thinking about something. It's a weird time for everyone to
Well, after 2016, it would seem like a very long shot that she would run again. You got 175 other Democrats. You can make that.
No, but I mean, to be honest with you, there's a personal bother to it in that. What is the basis for people being surprised that she's run before? Well, so has Bernie Sanders, so has Joe Biden. Is it that is she old? Well, it's because she's younger than Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump.
I get the case on paper, but were you trying to get some buzz going for Mrs. Clinton?
No, I was definitely trying to make the point that the coverage of her is not fair.
All right. I bet you have a lot more to say on that. But
I do. Back after the break.
Well, you won't be back after. I appreciate your coming on this holiday weekend.
Thank you. Happy New Year.